It was never the right time. It was never the right place. But at a certain point, you realize that if it is like that, it's also the opposite. It's always the right time and it's always the right place. Who decides that? That's a tricky question. It can be this one or it can be this one. It's up to what we've been using for most of the time, for most of our lives. But sometimes it's good to try to change the center of the decision-making center. Unless you are happy and fulfilled with what has always have been, but I'm gonna use this stick to enforce it. The way of what is to come. It's always there. It's way nearer than it seems. Just have to slow down, take a step back, use the five senses, or even more than five. Our life can change in 1 second. You can use bad examples of that, which will be very easy to grasp. Also good examples, but they will be a little harder to grasp because we've been taught to always think like, oh, this can't happen to me. Yeah, in your dreams. It's like the first thing I've said today. It depends on what you choose to believe in. Depends on where are you looking at. I've not chose this place. I just was looking for either a river or forest. And then I've heard the wind or the leaves were speaking through the wind. I've been invited to come here. There's musky rocks, trees, and good signal. The signal here is so good, so quiet that I become quiet too. That's why I don't mind to go so slowly, because this is the rhythm I like to dwell in. That's why I like turtles. I feel like a turtle sometimes. I think it's good. Always being rushing, always, that it feels so odd to slow down and be pointless. Why do everything has to have meaning? because it's taking the control, the mind, and not what dwells down there. It's so tricky. The less we put effort, the more it comes back. While for most of us, it's always has been to be like a fly that goes towards a window. Yeah, I'm trying, I'm using all of my strength to do this. But you're fighting with nothing or with yourself. Just doing what I've been told to do. That is one of the many definitions of madness. I think madness has shades. There's the bad one and the good one, but how many? How many points of it you have? And what does it mean to be good or bad? It means nothing. And again, this has no freaking sense. Imagine all the things you could have done in this short amount of time. But if you shift to the decision-making center a little bit here, why do I need to rush? Why I always need to do something? That is a zombie, that's not a person. Not even an animal, because animals slow down so many times. Nature is responding. Oh, there's a fly. Okay. It's responding through to the wind again. You will say, it's not. It's just some thing that's generating this movement from the. I don't care. Again, it all depends on what you want to seek. Whatever you seek, you will find. If I want to find signs around me, I find them. If I want to find rational answers to everything, I'll find them. But those has never brought me to anything good besides some kind of mere boredom of a life that's not worth living, while looking for signs And poetry has changed everything. And it's not something that you can grasp with the mind. None of this makes any sense. But again, who controls you? I realized that my mind is a little bit nuts. In the sense that it has been so much overstimulated for so much time that it doesn't know what it's doing. It's just some survival. Because I never slowed down for a long time. Then after I started to slow down, when my life went cracked by some building of events, for the first time I realized, wait. As a friend of me told me, while I was telling him the story, I noticed that I was leaving. And there's nothing more worthy than that. Because when you play either the role that has been given to you or the role that you've been chose, or what's the sake of it? If you like it, that's good. But chances are, if you never had the chance to slow down that much, without the need to care or think about anything, probably you just have to take what was most convenient to you, not to you. But long story short, everyone is here to do what is supposed to do. But I always think that we can do better, and at least for me, for my way of understanding of this realm, the more I slow down, the more I do unusual things for me, the more the doors starts to open. But we are built different. Maybe there's one that needs to live this life so fast that he doesn't even notice where he's heading to. Which, by the way, we're leading to that no matter what. Physical death. Yeah, that's the point. Memento mori, it's always there. So, it's not about the end, it's about the journey. We always wait for this, for that, for the other one, for da. It's never time to just enjoy the blissfulness that this place has to. Because heaven is a place on earth. And guess what? It's all about to us. It can be hell, it can be heaven. But when you're so caught up inside of this realm, chances are it's more looking like hell. While you start to see it as a dream, which for me at this point, this is a freaking dream. Everything becomes fluffy, foamy, temporary. what this real mess for sure. Even if I have to admit, I honestly think that this has been enforced into us so much that we multiply it because we give energy to it. But besides this, everything fades here. How humble will we all be if we always have that in mind? It's fading. Youthfulness is fading. The changes are so fast but slow at the same time that we don't notice them. But then, after some years, nothing is what it was anymore. We can't keep anything. If not love, if not knowledge, wisdom. Reincarnation is something at this point I'm sure of. Some moments less, some moments more. But yeah, or at least there's infinite there. There are realms where time is way less hard than it is here. The sun comes through the leaves, and I feel blessed because today I find out my time to slow down. People will say, yeah, it's easy when you have this, when you have that, when you can. We all can. You've made decisions that led you to have less time. My dear, that's your responsibility. Because having responsibilities, having things to do, has its price, even if it gives you something. Time is everything. If I manage my time to find space for this, it's my responsibility. And it has a price too. I hope it was clear what I'm trying to say. Until we don't take ownership of everything that ever happened to us, we'll be stuck there forever and ever. It's like dreams. Yes, you can stay all of your life looking for what does that mean, what does all the that means, but guess, then you learn what a lucid dream is. And does it make any sense to see that in a passive way? Yes, it does. But the same for life. It's like chasing rainbows, which is good, but not the point. I can look for signs in my life, I can look for signs in dreams, but I can also decide to look at them and in that same moment interact with that sign or with that symbol. I don't need to see something and search for that in the internet or in a book. I can, but it's not always the right chance. I can follow it, I can react immediately. We have way more control, even if at the same time we don't have any control of our life than it seems. And a good example of this is why some people freak out with drugs. I mean, not crazy drugs, but quiet and leafy drugs. Because it's like an ice bucket has been thrown to you, and you go so much out of the rails that you see so much and you're not ready for it. It's the Plato's cave. It's a bird that has been in a cage for such a long time that when you open it, you're scared of flying. But when you understand that you can fly and you don't want to fly, there's nothing worse. Nothing worse. Because then, it's what I said before, then you take all of the responsibility for it, but you don't want to do that. I mean, you in general. Because some of us wants to take the acknowledgement and responsibility for everything that happened, even if it's painful, even if it's not always easy. It's the only way. I could stay there forever, looking around, tripping. And I like the fact that someone will find this either useful or yeah, also nature has its duality. I was saying, you either find it useful or someone else will find it useful without telling you. But maybe your subconscious will be triggered by something. Maybe your soul will start to question a little bit more. Or you won't just care and you won't watch some of this anymore. But I know that this is the way of what is to come. At least for me. I have to do this. Even if I feel anchored, even if I feel pointless. There's so much more in this that I will never be able to grasp. Because if I grasp it all, I will grasp the truth. And if I grasp that truth, yes, thank you, son. If I grasp all of that, I want to say one last thing, which will be probably another long time, but I will. When I said those last words, those last phrases, I felt such a freaking blast. The emotions were on point. We've learned to suppress emotions so much, but they are the compass for us. Because if something feels great, I want to do it again. If something doesn't feel great, I don't want to. If I want to do that, and I have a mixture of emotions that feels right, I always have to discern fear and our causing up there, but that's the key. be able to give back to us freedom by just stop giving so much attention to the mind, to let us be controlled by the CPU. In the Orange Book of Osho, there's a technique so easy, so apparently stupid, that is stronger than a thunderstorm. To start to imagine yourself without the head. Start at first, or easy. Once you get a glimpse of it, you'll notice. Try. There's many pictures of, I don't think it's only a thing about Osho, because there's so many pictures about, even in Eat, Pray, Love, that old man gives to, I can't remember her name, to that famous actress that smiles a lot. He gives her a picture of an entity without the head, and he said, "Hey, baby, you have to look at this. Look at this." Yeah, that's the way I want to live. Not always without the head, because sometimes you have to do some quick maths. But more than often, no. And I'm feeling again that blissful feeling building up in me. So much that I could cry. And if this is giving me so much. In this moment, but my cows in here will tell me, why it's giving, why? Shh. Accept. We've been told that everything needs to come from something. Yes, it's true, cause and effect. But what if the cause, what if the base frequency, what if the standard, what if the golden standard is blissfulness and not no, it was not supposed to break, sorry. Maybe it's not this, but it's this. It's letting go of almost everything. Again, at least for me. Maybe I'll end up in a remote place like this, staying under a tree all day, just some nice water, and I will stay there 10 years until I become so lightweight that I start to fly and become a divine image of this realm. Sounds like a lot. Just to say that not everyone has the same path. Maybe I'm here for that. Maybe. No, without maybe. I was supposed to be here in this moment. and say this. Again, even if it seems pointless, even if somebody will find it pointless, I feel I got so much out of this. And again, there's no need to always have a reason. But if it feels good, if you have the ability to, it's a muscle, to admit to yourself that, yes, I'm scared of this or that, but this won't stop me. That's the key. That's the freaking key of Wonderland. Of the way of what is to come. Thank you, Carl Gustav. I would say that this was a lot. And this was enough for now. But I will come back. Don't know if I'll come back in this place. Maybe in another one. Maybe in my room. Maybe in another country. In another realm. Far away or way closer than it seems. I feel like a mountain. I feel like a part of this beautiful forest of the rocks. I belong there. I belong here. I belong everywhere I go, if it feels right. And I'm guided to the right places all the time, under grace, in perfect ways. Thank you, Florence Kovalshin. First step is done. It was the hardest, it was the scariest. But one day, after planting all of these good seeds, I will get so many ripe fruits. Sooner than later. And those fruits will be so ripe that I won't need anything else but those beautiful fruits. And you can be like this too. You just have to start to be more there than here. And that's a topic for another story. I will stay there for a long time. Let's see what happens. I just want to show you those rocks. Oh my god. I feel like I'm in a little paradise. The ice starts to relax here because there's anything that grasps your attention everywhere is something interesting, but hard to explain. The eyes start to relax. Nothing small to read, nothing big to reach. Everything is there and you don't need to focus too much. Bye.